I think overnight on the Saturday, Mila was warm, and on the Sunday she wasn't 100%. And she did get a fever up, but to touch it wasn't raging hot.
Yeah.
So she'd had Panadol, but it had stopped bringing the fever down.
Yeah.
So, and she reached 38.9, I think it was, or 38.8.
I called an ambulance and said, I want them to pick up my daughter and Mila, and I'll meet you at the New French's Forest Hospital. We're met by 3 nurses, and they had a new digital thermometer, and they couldn't, none of them could get it to work. 5 professionals could not get a thermometer to work. Then we took her up to emergency, and the doctor came and saw her.
And you were there for how long? A couple of hours?
About 3 hours.
Yeah.
We were there. I said, should we get a urine test or a blood test now to check on what's going on? The doctor said, no, I don't think it's anything more than a stomach virus.
So she was discharged, and on the discharge...
She was discharged because her fever came down to a suitable level.
And once that happened, she was being active again because she obviously wasn't feeling the pain.
Sure.
Her fever was controlled by the Nurofen and Panadol, but it would spike, so it would go up to 39.9.
We spoke on the Wednesday morning, quite early. I said, everything looks good, her fever's down, it's looking good. We might be out of the woods here.
Yeah, and Asha was fine, and suddenly the next thing I'm getting a phone call, I'm in the car, I'm taking her.
So it was very early in the morning. I hadn't even had breakfast yet, we hadn't had brekkie. I was changing her morning nappy. Asha was still in his pyjamas, I hadn't even had a coffee. I've got her on the bed and she turns blue.
Oh my God.
She went blue and her lips went black.
Oh my God.
She went slightly cross-eyed and I went, there's something seriously wrong. As we were driving through Mona Vale, she started to pass out. So I'm thinking it's a long way from there to French's Forest. And I remembered that there's an urgent care at Mona Vale Hospital. And I went, I'm just going to duck into the urgent care. At least I have some sort of medical attention. Somebody that can help me with CPR if necessary. Whatever. I've also got a 5-year-old boy that I need help. So I ducked into Mona Vale, went into the emergency car spot at the front doors there, got both kids out of the car, Asher on one hand, Mila over my shoulder, and kind of rushed in and said, I need help. This little girl's passing out through Mona Vale. And I don't feel comfortable going all the way up to French's Forest. And they said, sorry, we can't help you.
We don't have the
facilities, we can't take blood here, we can't help you. I got the kids both buckled into the car and was ready to get out of there, and the doctor came out with the nurse and they were tapping on the car and the window saying, no, please, we will help you, come in. And so they got us back out of the car and we went back in. They put us into an observation room and they took temperature, which again was over 40. She was very pale. I explained to the doctor what had happened, the fact that she turned blue on the bed. The doctor's eyes opened, obviously realising that there was something seriously wrong. So by this stage, I was also talking to Mahalia, and she and I both agreed that we wanted to take her to Randwick Hospital. We wanted to go somewhere that we knew was going to give us an answer. When I asked for that, the ambulance and the doctors said no. They said, we can't take you there, we're not allowed. And I said,
too many hospitals they have to drive past.
They've got to drive past too many hospitals. If something does happen, then they get the blame for driving past. When they turn me away, it's I realised that I got results. When I got upset. So from that point on, I got upset, and the story goes on. But every time I got upset, we got results. But why do I have to get upset?
Why wouldn't they do a urinalysis? If they'd done that. And the reason for that was, they said, was because it would be too traumatic for her to do a blood test and a urinalysis. That was at Northern Beaches. The doctor signed off that she wanted us to go to Randwick, and that was the only way that the ambulance officers could drive us that fast. Mona Vale's supposed to have ambulances at Mona Vale. That ambulance had to come down from St Ives, and he said that they never work in St Ives. They're always shipped out all over Sydney.
All over Sydney, that's exactly right.
We get to Randwick, and obviously the light rail is being built. There's roadworks, and I believe it's been there for months.
It has, yes.
Years,
to debacle. Another debacle,
making access to emergency difficult. We finally got to the doors. The ambos got us out in the back, and they went to put the code into the back door of the hospital, and they couldn't get the doors to open. They didn't know the code. They called another guy over, like a caretaker, and he's shrugging at the doors. So we're sat there waiting to go through the doors into emergency, and no one knows how to open up the doors. So then a nurse came out.
Is that a normal access?
Yes, that's the ambulance access.
Ambulance access.
So the normal ambulance access, they couldn't get the doors open.
That's correct. So then a nurse came over and typed in the code, which I know now. Finally got taken into an observation, like to a room to be assessed.
And that's
when Harley arrived.
And I actually at this point didn't know that she turned blue, and I didn't know. All I knew was that he was going to the hospital.
I took Ash out, and then to the playground, and then I came back in, and Mila started to crash again. She started to, as parents, you know when your kid's going a certain way.
Absolutely.
And when I saw it, I went out and I said, "Can somebody help, please? My daughter's going down. I need someone to come and have a look at her. We need help now." Again, I had to get upset. The nurse came in and said, "Sir, calm down. What is wrong with her?" I've just told 3 medical professionals
What's wrong with
what's wrong. It's been put into a computer system on my daughter's file. At that point, a doctor next door had heard me get upset, and she came straight into the room.
She was really great.
We've been it's not just, we haven't been in the waiting room for 5 minutes and in here for 10 minutes. We've been on the road for 3 hours.
Yes. Yes.
And we still don't know what's wrong.
And we still don't know what's wrong. And she
sick
still hasn't been treated.
For nearly 4 days.
4 days, yeah.
So then we told them what had been the issue in terms of the temperature, sore tummy. They'd said not appendicitis, but I suspected UTI. So they said, "Yep, we'll go and do bloods and urine."
They did a catheter, so we didn't have to wait for
They
urine.
literally
We just got urine straight away.
So for Northern Beach
Do it
to say
properly.
it was too traumatic, I'm like, 4 days of not knowing what's wrong with her, double dosing with Nurofen at this point, that's traumatic. So the doctor came and saw us after they'd done a dip test, and she said she's got really high in the urine, really high white cell count, which indicates that she's fighting off an infection.
Severe infection.
She said, based on the level, I would guess that it's quite an advanced infection. So at this point they haven't done the cultures, because
Sure.
cultures take 24
Sure.
hours, at least 24 hours. Came back and said within the blood there was very high CPR, which is CRP, which is a protein.
Yep.
And she said again, look, and she didn't say sepsis, she said I think she's got an infection in her blood because of the levels of CRP and white blood cells in her blood. And
So because it had been left so long, the urinary tract infection had travelled into the kidneys.
Yep.
Her kidneys were infected, and
Yep.
now her blood was
Now she had
infected.
sepsis.
well, they didn't at this point know what it was.
No.
So she said, look, we have to grow the culture. She was tachycardic, so her heart rate was 170, 169, 170.
Wow.
And so that goes with the fever.
Yes.
But the fever and the tachycardia is really dangerous.
Yes,
Because
yes.
it's putting pressure onto the heart and
Yeah.
that key organ.
So then it got to, I think, 9:30.
Yeah.
And we're going, where's the patient transport?
Yeah,
What's
3
happening?
hours.
What's going on? And they said, oh, we're really sorry. Probably not going to happen
Before 10.
before 10.
So we said, can we drive? And they said, absolutely.
By the way, it took us 25 minutes to drive.
Yeah, it's so quick compared to waiting. If we'd known that,
Yeah, we would have left
the
a lot
video
earlier.
hindsight, but anyway. And so then Chris dropped.
And the interesting point about that, if I can interrupt, is that it takes you less time to drive from Randwick to Royal North Shore than it does for you to drive from here to the Northern Beaches.
And that's
Significantly,
yes.
That's one of
20
the key
minutes.
And you've gone from level 6 hospital to level 6 hospital.
Yeah, exactly. The next day they came back and they said, we've got the culture back. She's got a UTI. 2 minutes after they left, the nurse came in to give her antibiotics. And I said, oh, can I just check what you've got there? Is it amoxicillin? And she said, yeah. I said, look, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure what I just heard the doctor's talking about is that the bacteria that she's got is resilient to amoxicillin. She said, oh, okay, no worries, I'll just go and check. 2 minutes later she came back, she said, oh, you're totally right. It took over 4 hours before it was charted. So the nurse kept coming back and saying, I'm terribly sorry, they are so busy at the moment. It's not that we don't want to do this, but we're just waiting for the medication.
So it took 4 hours before they could tell you the
charter. And then when it was charted, it took another 2 hours for it to be administered.
Yeah. So once she started on the antibiotics that it was sensitive to, there was definitely a difference in her heart rate came down.
Okay.
Homeostasis, so she started, the fevers started getting, she wasn't spiking to 40.
By this point too,
all the toxins and eliminate them.
Mila had been sick for 7 days, a week, the entire week. Yeah, she'd been crook.
If we hadn't done what we had done, if it was a different scenario, or if it was somebody else and they just kept doing it as they'd been instructed, that UTIs turn into sepsis. That's what happens.
Yes.
And sepsis kills.
Yes.
One third of people around the world that have a UTI, 1/3 of them die.
In fact, it is the largest in-hospital killer in America.
But there were problems across the board. It's not just Northern Beaches Hospital.
No, I understand.
There's a crisis in Sydney, in the Sydney hospital system.
The way you were treated.
Across the board, with the roadworks outside of the hospital, just as something that's basic, you know. We've lost Monavale, we've lost Manly, we've been given a substandard hospital as a replacement that's not even a proper 100% public hospital. The stuff around and the pressure that's being put on the other hospitals because of that, because nobody wants to go to French's Forest anymore. People, even GPs are suggesting that you don't go to that hospital.
I think the people of Northern Beaches are served extremely well. I think the people of Northern Beaches are served extremely well.